that you don't have to do a thing. Here are the points. Just type them in, right? Here are the points, just type them in. Either a table or the question just flat out gives you 3 points. No questions asked. But on 53, I'm going to introduce you to another one that you need to come up with the points. But I would argue this one is a little easier because it basically gives you the recipe of how to come up with your points. Okay? But it's going to be a little different in a sense that there are going to be 3 columns when you're setting up your table. So here it is. Type 1 to 3 require you to create a table and produce at least 3 points, right? So I'll just flat out tell you 1 to 3, you need to produce at least 3 points to come up with that. Type 1, I call this the profit/revenue questions. Like you will recognize it. It has to do with making money. Either you're selling tickets or something like that. There's money involved. So if it talks about profit, revenue, items being sold, you know where you land here. So this is in general the steps I will walk you through. When you see that, you want to make a table with 3 columns, right? I'll write that 3 columns. And it doesn't matter. The first 2 do not matter. The order doesn't matter. So whether you want to go with the cost or the price per item, and then the number of items you're selling next, this doesn't matter to me if you flip this. It really won't matter. What matters is that you make sure that profit goes at the end. And the profit, if you think about it, this number is going to consist of multiplying the cost, right? This one right here, times the number of items that you're selling. That's how you're going to get this number. So this will always be L2. This one is always L2. L1, however, depends on what the question is asking you for. Are you going to come up with a parabola that compares the price per item and the profit? Or are you going to make a parabola that compares the items sold and the profit? And I think I'm jumping to a conclusion here, assuming that you understand why this is a parabola. But it turns out that you don't have to copy this down, but it turns out whether you consider how much you're selling the item for and the profit, turns out that as you increase the price of an item, so let's call a smartphone. You're just launching a smartphone, and obviously if you charge $0, you're not going to make any profit, right? But as you start increasing the price of the item, you make more money, more money, more money, and then there's a point where you can charge a certain price where you maximize your profit as a company. But if you start charging more, like there's all of a sudden there's fewer sales, so your profit actually would decrease, right? Once you start being ridiculous with how much you charge, you start selling less. Like the price of gas, for example, right? I bet you more people are cycling now, right, than ever before because it's going up. So that's why when it comes to profit types of questions, this is what you have. So you could charge on the low end, right? You could charge a low price and make the exact same thing as charging more on the other end. You'll start making the same amount of profit because at a low price, you'll sell more items, giving you this profit. Once you charge more, you will sell less or fewer items, but still make the same profit. So that's another phenomenon. And then there's the best price. Right, this is the maximum profit here. If you're writing this down, that's what's happening here. Okay. Max profit, and then you've got everything in between. So that's what's happening here. That's the type of question that we're going to encounter here. So the first step, to be honest, I often give you a table. So you don't even have to worry about it. But some ACs will not have a table. Okay. Second step is enter the cost or the items into L1, profit into L2. So that is important. Profit, always L2. But L1 will depend on the question. You'll see in a bit. So note, what goes into L1 depends on the wording of the question. Does it ask for an equation that relates the cost and the profit? Then cost goes into L1, profit goes into L2, okay? If it's wanting to compare the items sold and the profit, then the items column will go into L1, and again, profit goes into L2. That is never disputed. Please remember that. If you fail to do so, you're not going to get a quadratic equation. You're going to get a linear equation. So, step number 3, perform the regression using quadratic regression. Make sure that your resulting equation does not have a is equal to 0. This would be linear. That's probably worth highlighting. If you do your regression and a is equal to 0, you made a mistake. Okay, it's not going to be a quadratic. Since L1 and L2 are being used, turn on plot 1, use zoom 9. Zoom 9 is zoom stat, and then adjust your window. This is very important. If you want to use that, make sure you adjust your window accordingly. So I will add something here. X min and Y min, maybe set them to -5 for sure. Like -5 is safe. If you want to go -10, that is safe as well. Okay? All right. I think I'm going to jump straight to the example now. I've talked enough about introducing this. So let's go, the bottom of 53, I'll do a part 2 tomorrow, okay? So then I'll fill in that part. Let's go to 54. Okay? You ready? A movie theater charges $1.80 per ticket, so you're already thinking this is probably a profit type of question. At this price, you sell 400 tickets per day. The theater manager has observed that for every 10-cent increase, I'm going to highlight that, something happens to the price. For every 10 cent that you increase the $1.80, you sell 40 fewer tickets. Emphasis on that the money's going up, and therefore the number of tickets sold is going down. There's an inverse relationship that's actually, don't worry about that, it's actually going to work out. So here's our table. So you would do price per item, number of tickets. You know what, why do I go with item? Let's go $1 per ticket. You know what, that wouldn't matter to me. It really wouldn't. $1 per ticket, number of tickets, and this is your profit. And every time you're going to take the $1 per ticket and you're going to multiply it by tickets. So the first one is filled out for you, okay? The first one is filled out for you. Basically, if this is $1.80, at this price, how much are we selling? 400 tickets. So that means that we're going to multiply $1.80 times 400, and we're going to get a number. Don't fill that in just yet. Just do that for now. Or like, we're not going to calculate anything. Just do this for now. Next, we increase this by 10 cents, right? So we go from here to here. We go plus 0.10. So this would be $1.90. What happens to the number of tickets? It drops by 40. So increasing this drops this. So we're down to 360. So this would be $1.90 times 360. That's how we would figure out the profit if you were to increase it by 10 cents. We need 3 points. That's why we're doing 3 rows. You can do more if you want, but this is what the bare minimum. You add 10 cents to that price one more time. Guess what? The number of tickets sold are going to drop by 40 one more time. So that's 320. Filling in the profit column would be 2 times 320. Boom. And let's fill this in. $720, $684, $640. So that's your table. Now read carefully. Determine the equation relating the ticket price and the profit. So the profit we knew this was going to go into L2. No debate about that. But which one of these two columns is going into L1? And it's the ticket price. So we put L1 here. Okay. So let's come up with our equation here. Stat, calc, quad reg. I'm going to come up with the equation. Stat edit, clear, clear. So 180, 190, 2. I'm going to talk about that later. There's a bit of a, it's not a problem for the calculator, but you may not see it at first. So I enter that. A cool thing about, I'll show you right, I'm going to go to my y equals. I'm going to clear everything in the y equals before I even come up with a regression. If you use zoom and then zoom stat, it's zooming into the 3 points that you've just put in. That looks like a straight line-ish, doesn't it? But it's not. You'll see once we graph our curve that it's not. So zoom stat is not very good here, in my opinion. Let's quit this again. We're now going to try the stat, calc, quadratic regression. Okay, we run that. We get this. Negative 400x squared plus 1120x. You're going to notice a lot of these ones are going to have a 0 for C. Okay, so that is my equation. And since we're asked for more, let's find out what the graph looks like on our screen. So I'm going to hit graph. You do see a little bit of a curve, right? But remember, what did I tell you about the mins? X-min, Y-min? It should be negative. So let's go to our window. You're with me, right? Window. X-min, I'm going to go negative 5. Y-min, I'm going to go negative 5 as well. Before you do anything else, do that first, and you'll see more. Okay, let's hit graph. It's a little bit overkill, but there you see this. Now I'm going to chase the curve. I'm going to go Y max a little bit. I'm going to go higher. Let's go 800 for Y max. Hit graph. I see the vertex. I need to chase further to the right. I'm going to go to window, X max. I'm going to go to 5 there. Sorry, not 50. So that's a pretty good graph. I see everything. So let's, and you see the 3 points you've created along it, right? So we're good. Now, let's see if I can have everything on the screen here. What is the maximum, what ticket price would result in the maximum profit? What is the maximum profit? And remember, let's go, I made this graph here for you. This is profit in dollars. And right now, because we put ticket price, This is ticket price, also in dollars. And guess what? The vertex, right, gives you the price and the max profit. Right? The Y value is what it's asking. Well, it's asking for the Y value, the maximum profit, and it's also asking for the ticket price that would result in the maximum profit. So it's very much interested in that vertex here. Find vertex. Okay? So we're going to have to go second, trace, max in this case. Second, trace, max. Oops, we're going to go to the left of it. That's good. Enter. Go to the right. Enter. Enter one more time. And there it is. 1.4784. I'm going to write this down. And I actually have both of these I need to use here. So a ticket price of $1.40 results in maximum profit of $784 for that day. Right? Do you need to make a sentence? No, I would just want you to label clearly and have units attached to it. Remember, money needs to have 2 decimals. If it's a non-zero at the end here. So there we go. Yep. That's fine. Doesn't matter. In this case, it is. Okay, I'm almost done. And then, how many tickets are expected to be sold at this price? How many tickets? I want you to remember this. Profit is equal to dollar per ticket times tickets. Because our quadratic equation doesn't have the number of tickets, guys. It doesn't. So I'm going back to this formula. We have a specific point here. We know that when the profit is $7.84, the price per ticket is $1.40, and we're going to have to multiply that by tickets. And so what do I need to do there to figure out the number of tickets? We divide both sides by $1.40, canceling this out. In this case, it's a round number. If it hadn't been, please round. 560 tickets. Okay? What ticket price or what ticket prices would give or yield, same number, same definition, sorry, means the same thing, a profit of $4.50. Explain why there are 2 possible prices. So it's basically what ticket price would give us a profit of $4.50. We let Y2 equal to $4.50, second, trace, intersect. And watch what happens when we do that. 450. Hit graph. So if you want to make $450 profit, you have 2 choices. Right? So we're going to find them both. Second trace 5. The first one is charging 49 cents. Or I'm going to find the other one. I know it's on the screen. this would be $2.31. See? This one gave me 231 when I did second trace intersect. At the lower price, you sell more, while at the higher price, you sell fewer tickets. Both result in same profit. I want you to try at least one. I think the next one is a pierogi fundraiser. On page 56. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it light. Tomorrow, I'll give you